Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at another brand new addition to this game, which is this Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro. As is usually the case with new vehicles in this game, to unlock the AMR Pro all you have to do is get 20 points in this week's festival playlist, which I've done by doing the trial, the event labs, danger sign, speed trap, seasonal championship, photo challenge, and of course the 4 monthly rivals. In its standard configuration here on Forza Horizon 5, this car only, well, it's still a lot of power, but only produces 800 horsepower from its 6.5 litre V12, because it has apparently been limited compared to what it would have from standard in Motorsport even. Probably because otherwise it would be in X-Class from standard. This way though, it's right at the top of S2 at 998 before any upgrades are applied. This version, unlike the standard Valkyrie, if we can call any Valkyrie standard, only has that engine and not the addition of a hybrid system that car does in order to save weight over the road legal version, which it indeed has. This car weighs only just over 1,000 kilos, which considering it has a big V12 engine is insanely light. The standard Valkyrie, for comparison, is nearly 300 kilos heavier, which makes it nearly 30% heavier than this version, which is a pretty insane saving, and shows how pointless a hybrid system actually is. Just like the other Valkyrie, this is of course rear-wheel drive, but also has near infinite grip from all of those downforces that it could possibly want. It's available in a selection of manufacturer colours. Firstly, there's this Aston Martin Racing Green, which we all recognise from the Formula 1 car, but there's also this rather cool green and orange colour scheme that they use on some of their WEC Vantages, I think, which I think looks like a pretty cool scheme, so I'm probably going to put that on mine. And there's also this rather nice blue colour. But yeah, like I say, I'm going to put this lighter green and orange version on the car. It's kind of a shame, though, that there aren't advanced painting options. For example, using the main body of the car as Group 1, and then doing these orange accents as Group 2, I feel like would have been a cool way to break the car up, and for us to be able to make some unique and more personal colour schemes. Being such an extreme track car, there obviously aren't that many options here in the upgrade shop. Under conversion, all we have is an all-wheel drive swap, if you want to do that to it, which probably adds weight and makes it less good. You can put worse tyres on it, although interestingly, these Michelin slicks are often grippier than even the normal slicks. So yeah, it has pretty insane tyres on it already. You can of course though increase track widths, which immediately puts it into X-Class, as do most upgrades. You can change the transmission to have more gears, but I don't know why you would. In terms of handling bits, there's not really anything. There's off-road suspension, which is a lot taller than I thought it would be. That is actually quite incredible. We need to do an off-roading hypercar challenge with this, or drift suspension. I don't know why you'd put that on here. And under the engine, there is only one option. It does, though, remove the restrictor plate, which I think is what Forza have put in to reduce power, giving it a very nice round 1,000 horsepower, which is helpful. That's probably more like what it should have. But yeah, not loads of options here in the upgrade shop, other than to put power back up to where it probably should be. For the time being though, I'm going to be leaving the car with the 800 horsepower that it comes with here in Forza, so that we can compare it to some other track cars, the Ferrari FXXK, the Brabham BT62, and the Pagani Huayra R, because the power figure of 800 is a lot closer to those other track cars, and is the only way for them to be in with any chance against this thing. Starting then by drag racing the 4 vehicles. The Ferrari's gone. Oh wow, that's close.
It's close between the Pagani.
I cocked up the gears. What happened, Stick?
I think the Brabham is just not as fast as these. We then headed over to Event Lab Island to compare them all around my latest custom circuit creation, Petroleum Park.
See you guys.
Oh my god. How long did you say this took to make?
20 hours.
Jesus.
Wait, so I have the fastest car and I know the track the best. This is a little bit unfair.
I have the fastest car. Top speed wise.
I might have to take the chicane.
What's your lap, guys, so far? Best lap?
119.
128.
That thing sounds good.
And there goes the Ferrari. Where's the motorsport levels of Slipstream? This is terrible.
It's not far behind though.
I'm stuck at... I can't even hit 200. Maybe I need to be in 5th. Yeah, I don't know otherwise. It's hard to know which to use. $114.
A 114. What did I do?
116.7.
116.7.
Unsurprisingly, around here, the Aston won, even with its limited power in this configuration, setting an insanely fast lap time in the 114s. As its standard rating is at the top of S2 class here in Forza Horizon 5, I decided at this point, although I never really do this, to head into some S2 class Horizon Open to see how the Valkyrie performed. Unfortunately though, when I first loaded in here at the Riviera Sprint, the entire field was full of Valkyries, so I couldn't really test this, although that in itself kind of answered my question about whether this car is any good. Anyway, the ride of the Valkyries began, although judging by the launch of some of the cars off the line, I would say they were all-wheel drive converted, and the chaos ensued. Although, if I'd been a bit braver towards the end of this first race, I think I could have been in with a very good chance of a victory. But anyway, second place it was after a very high-speed run along this sprint route. That was the final race of that adventure, so I loaded into a second set of races, starting at the Linea Costera Sprint, which contained some cars that weren't Valkyries this time around. Here again I struggled off the line compared to what must be all-wheel drive converted cars, but then through the chaos that ensued throughout the race, found myself in second place again. Towards the end of the race, the lack of top speed did allow a CLK GTR pass though, so I ended up third. Still though, a result I was quite happy with, just mostly glad to have survived the whole race, in any of these S2 class races in fact. Next up, rather terrifyingly, it was the Bolo Ocho circuit. Somehow this didn't result in complete chaos and death, and I worked my way up to third place again, actually surprisingly really enjoying this race. This ended in another third place finish, being beaten only by 2 other Valkyries. And finally we headed to the Lookout circuit. Here, through a lot of high-speed collision ghosting, I found myself at the end of lap 1 in 4th place, with 3 more Valkyries ahead. One of them promptly went and visited a tree and promoted me into 3rd place. Another Valkyrie with a 007 livery decided it had a license to kill and pushed me into a wall. In the process of this though, they managed to miss a checkpoint, and I ended up in 4th again, where I stayed until the end of the race. And that was that. This car though, unsurprisingly, I have to conclude is pretty fast. Although I didn't actually win a race in my stock AMR Pro, the number of them in the races and the amount of times a Valkyrie won or filled the entire podium against other pretty fast S2 class cars, they do seem to be quite insane in S2 class. Even in a stock version of the car, I was getting podiums, in some cases with the pace to win the race. Probably should have actually won at least one of them. I would say then that this car's PI is probably lower than it should be. It should really have been in X-Class from standard, I think, even with the power restricted to 800 horses. Anyway, unusually I actually really enjoyed these S2 class races in the stock Valkyrie AMR Pro. And that is going to do it for a very first look at the absolutely insane Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro here on Forza Horizon 5, a quite ridiculous car that, yes, has been limited to 800 horsepower, but for good reason, bringing it down into S2, although I think it's probably still lower PI than it potentially should be. But anyway, still absolutely mad car to finally have in this game. As ever, do let me know your thoughts on this brand new addition to Forza Horizon 5, but for today's video that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next one very soon.